Good morning. My name is Kevin Ott, and I'm doing my Forum 4 for Liberty University's American Revolution class on the Third Amendment, its history, and the reason it was deemed necessary by the founders. Historians must be objective and honest in their investigations and must be dedicated to a reasoned and investigated reconstruction of primary sources.
The Third Amendment of the United States Constitution reads, "No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law." According to Cornell University's Law Department, there has been no Supreme Court explication of this amendment, which was obviously one guarantee of the preference for the civilian over the military.
This is an interesting point to make, as a large reason for the Bill of Rights was the outcry by numerous anti-federalists who deemed it necessary to have the country rely on such a covenant.
One of the fears that the Anti-Federalists had, and the reasoning for a lack of standing army under the Articles of Confederation, was that the military would infringe slowly on the liberties and lead to tyranny. For this reason, it is so important for this amendment to be in place, as the lack of standing army was soon to go by the wayside and transition into a more centralized government.
However, in order to understand the reasoning by many founders on this issue, we must understand the history behind this amendment.
The Quartering Act of 1765 had only demanded that colonists provide barracks for British soldiers, and these were provided on a portion of Boston's harbor. However, 1 year later, the act was expanded to require housing for soldiers in hotels and abandoned buildings. After the Boston Tea Party, as a punishment to the colonies, the British brought forth the Coercive Acts, and part of this legislation was the Quartering Act of 1774. With this, it allowed soldiers to board in occupied private homes, allowing the military to maintain watch and order over civilians.
This elicited political statements that spoke of the intrusions on the privacy of the home, abuses of persons and properties, and restrictions of individual freedoms. References to this are seen in the Declaration of Independence, when Jefferson stated that the king has rendered the military independent of and superior to the civil power.
Interestingly enough, at the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, delegates chose to reject Charles Pinckney's proposal for a constitutional prohibition on the quartering of soldiers. Thankfully, Anti-Federalists saw this and other issues not mentioned in this document as an infringement on the affirmative rights of people. The Bill of Rights and the Third Amendment curtails those fears. While the Third Amendment has not been referenced by the Supreme Court in any decision on the matter, it is important to look at the modern-day interpretations by some scholars. As the Third Amendment is founded upon the privacy of its citizens and the prohibition of forced entry, it has been viewed in recent years as a potential avenue for use in state police matters. Even though some would argue that there's already an amendment pertaining to unreasonable searches and seizures, it has gained ground in different communities and is an important avenue of further research.
If anyone is interested in this information, they can check out an article in the William and Mary Bill of Rights Journal by Samantha Loven entitled "Everyone Forgets About the Third Amendment," exploring the implications on Third Amendment case law of extending its prohibitions into including actions by state police officers. With the history of this amendment and the potential impact it has had on America today, it is certainly a welcomed piece to the Bill of Rights, and one that has surely not met the acclaim that it deserves. Thank you, and God bless.